Welcome friends, welcome to this interesting session on the top 5 subjects which you should master if you want to be a successful structural engineer. So we know that civil engineering has lot of components, right? Civil engineering has structural engineering, it has geotechnical engineering, it has transportation engineering, it has environmental engineering, it has water resources engineering, it has earthquake engineering, and many other interdisciplinary domains also. All the domains are equally potent, yes, and are in demand. When we talk about structural, we can say it is one of the most demanded sectors of your civil engineering. So as a student, if you are in your college or you are in towards the end part of your college, or you have started your college in first year or second year, third year, fourth year, whichever year you are, yes, and suppose if you are pass out, you want to enhance your knowledge, you can say upgrade your knowledge and become a successful structural engineer, then the first important step is to correct your basics, right? To correct your basics. If your basics are not strong, then it's very difficult to master the higher concepts. Yes. So when we talk about structural engineering, I will list here the top 5 subjects and also the order in which you should study these subjects, right? So the first subject you should study before you are starting anything is your engineering mechanics, right? The first subject which you should study before starting anything is your engineering mechanics. So engineering mechanics forms, I can say, the basic language for the upcoming subjects after this. Yes. So I can say the first subject you should study is what? Your engineering mechanics. Yes. In engineering mechanics, we will understand first of all what are the different force equilibrium equations, the system of forces, yes, friction, and many other things which will be useful in the upcoming subject. The upcoming subject, the next subject which you should master is your strength of materials, okay? Is your strength of materials, also known as mechanics of solids, right? Also known as mechanics of solid or mechanics of materials, and students call this as SOM, strength of materials, right? So this is the next subject which you should master. In strength of material, you need to understand the concepts of simple stress and strain. Yes, you have to understand the elastic constants, then the deformation of bars, thermal stresses, the concept of shear force and bending moment diagram, the concept of bending stress, shear stress, shear stress due to torsion, the concept of transformation of stress and strain, where we understand the Mohr circle for stress and strain. Yes, then also some other concepts like the failure theories, which are very much useful, and also some other concepts like the theory of columns, where we understand buckling of columns, and pressure vessels, shear center, and springs. So these all things we study where? In your strength of material. We also study deflection of beams in strength of material. Yes. So I can say the strength of material becomes the most important subject for the applied structural subjects. We'll see what are the applied structural subjects. In that, strength of metal becomes very important. Yes. Then the next subject which you should study is your structural analysis. In structural analysis, we deal with many concepts like the stability of structures, the determinacy, both you can say static and kinematic. Then we understand the concepts of trusses, and we also understand how to find out the slope, deflection, shear force, bending moment in indeterminate beams and frames by different energy method, force methods. So we apply all these concepts in structural analysis, and therefore it becomes the next important subject. Now, the thing is that all these three subjects which I have enlisted here, they actually form the theory. actually from the theory, or I can say the science of structures. Okay, so I can say that these three things are what? The science of structures, and you need to cover these three topics, these three subjects in details if you want to go into the next thing, that is what? Applied structures. Means what? You're going to apply these concepts, into the civil engineering real structures. So the civil engineering real structures are made up of two important things. So like two categorization, I can say. Yes, there are many categorization, but I can say there are two major categorization as far as we can say current times are concerned. Yes, so those two categorizations are what? Your concrete structure. Yes, those two categorizations are what? The concrete structures, which are made up of RCC, reinforced cement concrete. Yes, and then we have steel structures. Then we have what? Steel structures. Right? Then we have what? Steel structures. So this I can say is the fourth and fifth subject. Now why I have put them in a different category? Because as I told, these are application of the concepts which you have studied, right, in the engineering mechanics, strength of materials and structural analysis. You're applying this to your concrete structures and steel structures. Okay, now when I'm applying, I need to follow some code. The codes which we are using for understanding concrete structures and steel structures, they both in current times they follow limit state method. There are many methods, right? Many design methodologies. So the current design methodology which are followed and which you should master is what? Your limit state method, or I can say limit state design. So you have to master the limit state design of your concrete structures and your steel structures. For that, you need to follow certain codes, right? For your concrete structures, you're going to follow what? IS 456. Yes. And then for steel structures, you're going to follow what? Your IS 800. So these two codes becomes very important, and if you have mastered these two codes, then you are thorough with the concrete structures and steel structures. There are some other codes also. Okay, some other codes also, like there is code of your IS 1343. Yes, then there are code of your IS 1893. Yes, now these are code related to what? Your pre-stressed concrete and your earthquake resistant structures. Okay, so these are code related to that. Okay, so these codes also need to be mastered. Yes, if you want to be a successful structural engineer, because they are more finding more application in what? Your concrete structures. Yes, now IS 1893. Yes, so that you are going to study what? Your earthquake resistant structures. Yes, and then if I am seeing IS 1343, we are talking about what? Your pre-stressed concrete structures, right? Pre-stressed concrete structures. So therefore, they have very lot of application in modern times. And therefore, if you are thorough with these two codes, along with your IS 456 and IS 800, yes, then I can say that you have formed the basis for becoming a successful structural engineer. Yes. So as we have discussed, now many students ask about the softwares which we need to master, okay, for becoming a successful structural engineer. But my suggestion is that if you are talking about becoming a successful structural engineer, the first thing you should do is first master these subjects. Softwares you can learn anytime after that. And the thing is that if you are thorough with your basics, you're thorough with the formulas, the equations, and the deep theory behind all those softwares, then actually you will be able to apply those softwares better. So first thing is, if you want to become a successful structural engineer, you should master these subjects, right? Engineering mechanics, strength of materials, structural analysis, yes, and then concrete structures and steel structures. The next thing is that if you are going for a master's in structural engineering or master's in earthquake engineering, then actually your knowledge will be enhanced, and that will lead you, or I can say that will lead you to becoming a better structural engineer. I can say best structural engineer. So you should target doing a master's in structural engineering after you have mastered this subject, and for that you need to appear for the GATE exam, right? And you have to study from the top institutes of the country, right? And the top institutes of the country are your Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and other top IITs like IIT Bombay, IIT Chennai, IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Delhi, IIT Roorkee, IIT Varanasi, and other many good IITs, and you can say some very good NITs also. Yes. So if I conclude that if you are targeting to become a good structural engineers, keep the softwares at the end. First, you need to study the subjects, and those subjects I just enlisted for you. And I also told that if you want to become a, you can say, best of the best, then you should study in the best of the institutes, and therefore you should target masters in structural engineering from any of the top IITs or IISc. Thank you very much.